Simultaneously, President Walker's Chief of Staff, Christina Gallagher, invites Russo's former partner, Paul Capra, to the White House, suggesting him as a potential replacement for Russo's congressional seat. Following Congressman Peter Russo's death, Frank Underwood, the majority whip, directs Remy Danton to St. Louis to gauge Raymond Tusk's interest in becoming vice president. Journalist Janine Skorsky begins investigating Russo's death and warns Capra to keep quiet about her suspicions that Russo's campaign may have been a setup. Frank, along with President Walker and Linda Vasquez, meet to discuss possible successors for Russo. Agreeing to meet with Tusk, President Walker expresses his preference for Tusk. Despite Linda's disagreement, citing Tusk's business acumen, Frank volunteers to personally visit Tusk in St. Louis to show him respect and sound him out about the vice presidency. Janine then shares her concerns about Capra and the Russo case with Zoe, warning her about informant Roy Kapeniak, but Zoe is determined to investigate further. Meanwhile, Claire Underwood deals with questions from Gillian about the funding source for a water filtering project in Botswana. Finally, Zoe confronts Frank, questioning him about pressuring Russo, while Frank tasks Stamper with investigating Raymond Tusk's finances. Frank, also suspecting foul play, assigns Zoe Barnes to investigate Russo's death. Claire discusses the Russo case with Janine, mentioning her suspicion that Frank is involved, while Zoe Barnes walks by. Later that night, Frank travels to Raymond Tusk's home, where Tusk's wife, Jean, welcomes him and explains that Raymond is asleep. Frank pretends to retire for the night, but he is unable to sleep, gets up early and finds Raymond in the kitchen cooking breakfast. They engage in a conversation about Frank's past, during which Raymond speaks in Chinese on the phone, after which Frank finds out that Jean brings him everything he has from her travels. Meanwhile, Janine approaches Christina Gallagher in the cafeteria seeking information about Russo's death and who will fill his vacant seat. Dak interrupts their conversation, advising Christina to direct any unwanted questions to him. Frank then confronts Raymond about the VP nomination, but Raymond explains that his financial arrangements prevent him from accepting. Back in Washington, a government official is seemingly reluctant to help Frank, and two administrative aides are searching for missing files related to Russo. Later, Frank and Raymond meet in the woods, where they discuss the president's lack of support for Raymond's nuclear plant, and Raymond questions Frank's religious beliefs, expressing his reservations about the vice president affecting his decision. Janine questions Christina about whether Russo implied she was Underwood's source on the education bill leak, and warns Zoe against trusting Underwood, fearing she's being used. Zoe confronts Janine, who reveals the connections between Zoe, the education bill, Omark's leadership, Kian's article, and Kapeniak, reinforcing her warning that Underwood is manipulating Zoe. Claire presses Remy about Julian Cole's refusal to allow a film crew access to a SanCorp facility. Meanwhile, Zoe and Lucas travel to St. Louis to investigate Roy Kapeniak. Zoe speaks with Echo, a stripper, confirming that Underwood directed Kapeniak to falsely claim Cairn wrote for the school paper. Back in Washington, Stamper informs Underwood that Janine has uncovered Christina's connection to him, and that Duell's records link Raymond Tusk to Pioneer Airlines and Oka. Privately, an unknown party declares that Underwood is getting too close and they have something he wants, signaling an impending threat. Underwood confronts Tusk with this information, questioning Tusk's intentions regarding the vice presidential nomination. Undeterred, Claire later confronts Gillian directly about the SanCorp film crew issue. Claire confronts Janine about involving SanCorp in the World Well Water project without her consent, fearing she's losing control. Janine defends her decision, arguing SanCorp's involvement was necessary and that the agreement doesn't grant Claire control over World Well. Feeling threatened, Janine tells Zoe that Claire is becoming a problem. This prompts Zoe to seek out Christina Gallagher, hoping to uncover what Underwood used to blackmail him. Meanwhile, President Walker meets with Remy in the Oval Office and separately discusses a map with voting information with Underwood, noting the president is also meeting with Raymond Tusk. Underwood tasks Remy with arranging another meeting with Tusk, seeing an opportunity to exploit Tusk's wealth and power and ultimately destroy him. Janine goes to see Christina Gallagher, but is told she is out of the office. Zoe then forces her way into Christina's office and confronts her, but they are interrupted by a congressman. Christina then asks Zoe about Roy Kapeniak,